but I'm a person, and I feel like, people will like you for who you are if you are true to yourself. And
In professional tennis, we're used to shattered records, 150-mile-per-hour serves, 5-hour marathons, and prize checks that look like lottery jackpots. But nothing prepared the sport for what unfolded under the desert sun. After playing the match of her life, muscles burning and adrenaline fading, Alexandra Eala walked toward the net ready to celebrate. The crowd was roaring until the stadium suddenly fell silent. A man stepped onto the court, not an official or a fan, but one of the wealthiest figures in the region. Taking the microphone, oil billionaire Sheikh Khalid al-Rashid looked her in the eye and made an unbelievable offer. $10 million not for sponsorship, not for a commercial deal, but for the sweat-soaked racket in her hand. It wasn't a movie scene. It was a real moment that stunned the tennis world. What began as a simple birthday wish turned into one of the most emotional scenes in sports history. On Champions Tennis, where we don't just watch the match but feel its heartbeat, the so-called $10 million racket incident became more than a headline. It was about the shocking offer, security scrambling in confusion, and a 5-second response from a young champion that proved some things in life simply cannot be bought. And to truly grasp how extraordinary it was, you first have to understand the atmosphere surrounding Eala's meteoric rise as a young Filipina star taking the tennis world by storm. A proud graduate of the Rafa Nadal Academy, Alexandra Eala has been storming up the rankings, silencing doubters, and carrying the hopes of an entire nation on her shoulders. She's no longer just a promising talent, she's a phenomenon. Arriving at the tournament, Eala was locked in, coming off a grueling season where she battled through qualifiers and fought for every single point. Even before the billionaire stepped onto the court, the match was already making headlines. She played with a ferocity rarely seen, her forehand exploding like a cannon, her movement across the court almost supernatural. She wasn't just winning, she was inspiring everyone watching, especially in the VIP box. There, Sheikh Khalid al-Rashid, a man reportedly worth over $50 billion with fleets of supercars, private islands, and a skyline shaped by his investments, watched closely. But his focus wasn't on the scoreboard. It was on his daughter, Aisha al-Rashid. To the world, she is an heiress to an oil empire. That day, she was simply a young girl with stars in her eyes. Sources close to the family revealed that Aisha had been facing personal health struggles, and during her recovery, she found comfort in one thing: watching Eala compete. She didn't just admire Eala's game, she connected with her spirit. Eala's relentless, never-give-up attitude had quietly become Aisha's source of strength. As Alexandra Eala crushed a final winner down the line to seal the match, the stadium erupted in thunderous applause. But inside the VIP box, Aisha al-Rashid turned to her father and whispered that for her birthday, all she wanted was to hold a piece of that magic. Most fathers might have arranged for an autograph or bought a replica jersey. But Sheikh Khalid al-Rashid was not most fathers. When the match ended, Eala shook hands with her opponent and waved to the crowd, sweat dripping from her brow, exhaustion setting in as she likely dreamed of an ice bath and recovery shake. Then, without warning, security near the players' bench parted like the Red Sea. A hush swept across the arena as the billionaire himself, dressed in immaculate traditional robes, stepped onto the court, flanked by stunned tournament officials unsure how to react. Calm but determined, he motioned for the umpire's microphone. The sound system crackled through the silent stadium. "I am a father," he began, his deep voice trembling with emotion. "And I will do anything to make my daughter happy." Eala froze, gripping her racket tightly, unsure whether this was a security breach or an unexpected ceremony. The sheikh glanced toward the VIP box, where Aisha stood with her hands pressed against the glass, then turned back to the young champion. "Alexandra Eala, you are the inspiration for my daughter Aisha. I would like to offer $10 million to purchase the racket you used to win today's match." A collective gasp rippled through the crowd. $10 million for a piece of graphite and string that costs a few hundred at a sporting goods store. But to him, it was not just equipment. It was a symbol of resilience and hope. Cameras zoomed in on Eala's face as she looked at the billionaire, then at the worn racket in her hand, the scratches from a hard court, the grip stained with sweat and sacrifice. For 5 agonizing seconds passed. No one breathed. $10 million could change lives, build hospitals, fund careers, secure generations. Most would have handed over not just the racket, but the entire bag. But Eala didn't look at the money. She looked at the moment. Stepping toward the microphone without consulting her coach or agent, her voice steady and kind, she said, "Sir, your daughter's love for the game is worth more than any amount of money in the world." She smiled toward Aisha in the VIP box. "I cannot sell you this racket for $10 million, because inspiration should not be bought," Alexandra Eala continued, her voice calm but powerful. "It should be shared." Then, instead of walking away, she moved toward the edge of the court beneath the VIP box and motioned for Aisha to come down. Security hesitated for a split second before carefully lifting the young girl over the railing. Eala knelt to meet her at eye level. "This is for you," she said softly, placing the racket into Aisha al-Rashid's trembling hands. "For free on one condition. You promise to keep fighting, just like I do." Aisha, the daughter of Sheikh Khalid al-Rashid, a girl who could have anything money could buy, burst into tears. She threw her arms around Eala, sobbing into the champion's shoulder. Behind them stood the powerful Sheikh, a titan of industry, wiping his own eyes, visibly humbled. The crowd didn't just applaud, they wept. A standing ovation thundered through the stadium for nearly 10 minutes, echoing far beyond the court. The moment has since exploded across social media because it struck a nerve in a cynical world. Modern sports often feel like pure business where loyalty carries a price tag and athletes are treated as assets. When the Sheikh offered $10 million, he was operating by the logic he understood: everything has a price. If you want something rare, you pay for it. But Eala's refusal wasn't simply about rejecting money, it was about redefining value. By turning down the offer, she made that racket priceless. Had she sold it, it would have been an expensive souvenir, a symbol of a transaction. By giving it away, she transformed it into something far greater, a symbol of hope, resilience, and shared inspiration. That racket instantly became more than equipment. It became a symbol of pure sportsmanship, a physical manifestation of the bond between an athlete and a fan. For Aisha, the lesson was profound. If her father had simply purchased the racket, she might have learned that wealth can secure anything. Instead, she learned that her hero sees her, values her, and believes in her not because of money, but because of heart and passion. Social media erupted, dubbing the moment the billion-dollar reject. Hashtags like #EalaEffect and #Priceless began trending worldwide. Commentators joked that Alexandra Eala had just made the worst business decision of her life, but the greatest brand decision imaginable. And was it really bad business? In truth, Eala may have done something far more powerful than cashing a check. She positioned herself as a global ambassador of integrity and kindness, something no endorsement deal can manufacture. Brands don't just seek champions, they seek icons. And in that unforgettable moment, she became one. The story, however, didn't end with that tearful embrace. The ripple effects are still spreading across the tennis world and beyond. To fully understand why her gesture resonated so deeply, you have to look at her journey. A graduate of the Rafa Nadal Academy, Eala's rise has been defined by discipline, resilience, and belief, qualities instilled from a young age. Born in the Philippines and carrying the dreams of a nation hungry for a global tennis star, her path has never been easy. That's precisely why giving away the racket meant so much. She understood what it means to fight for opportunity, to draw strength from inspiration, and to chase a dream that sometimes feels bigger than yourself. Born in the Philippines, Alexandra Eala has had to fight for every opportunity. She left home at a young age to train in Spain at the Rafa Nadal Academy, sacrificing time with family and friends to pursue her dream. Along the way, she dealt with injuries, funding challenges, and the immense pressure of carrying a nation's hopes in a sport largely dominated by wealthier countries with deeper infrastructure. In recent months, her steady climb up the WTA rankings has captured the attention of tennis legends. Her explosive baseline game, paired with tactical maturity beyond her years, has drawn comparisons to established stars. Just weeks before the now-famous incident, she stunned a top 20 opponent, making it clear she was no longer just a promising prospect, she was a genuine threat. Back home, the Filipino tennis community has rallied behind her in extraordinary fashion. Viewing parties fill venues across Manila whenever she competes, and children are picking up rackets because of her influence. She isn't simply chasing ranking points, she's inspiring a generation. That's why her decision to give away the racket felt so powerful. For someone who understands sacrifice and the value of every dollar, who has seen firsthand how hard her family worked to support her journey, turning down $10 million wasn't just generous, it was transformative. It reminded the world that some athletes still see their platform as something bigger than personal wealth. And the story didn't end there. Reports suggest that Sheikh Khalid Al Rashid was so moved by her gesture that he pledged the same $10 million not to buy memorabilia, but to support youth sports development in the Philippines in Eala's name. While not officially confirmed, sources close to the family claim he intends to fund tennis facilities in underserved communities, providing equipment and coaching to children who might otherwise never touch a racket. If realized, Eala's 5-second decision could spark a legacy far greater than any private fortune. Instead of enriching one individual, it could open doors for thousands of young athletes, turning a single act of kindness into a nationwide movement. Instead of one racket gathering dust in a private collection, entire tennis courts could rise across the Philippines. That's the multiplication of generosity, the kind of math that changes nations. The Philippine Tennis Association has reportedly reached out to representatives of Sheikh Khalid Al Rashid to explore potential partnerships, and coaches around the country are buzzing with hope. Former Filipino players have even offered their time and expertise should the proposed foundation come to life. As for Aisha, she was seen leaving the stadium clutching the racket like it was the crown jewels. Witnesses say she refused to let security carry it, holding it tightly against her chest during the ride home, glancing down at it in disbelief. That worn grip and scuffed frame may now be one of the most meaningful pieces of tennis memorabilia in the Middle East, not because of its material value, but because it couldn't be bought. It represents something even billions cannot purchase: genuine human connection. A hero acknowledging that she matters not for her last name, but for her own spirit. The Sheikh himself has remained unusually quiet online, but those close to him say the moment left a lasting mark. Here is a man accustomed to billion-dollar negotiations, to boardrooms where fortunes shift with a signature, to acquiring almost anything he desires. For perhaps the first time in decades, he faced something beyond the reach of wealth, and instead of reacting with frustration, he responded with humility. He was reminded that love, inspiration, hope, and dignity exist outside any marketplace. And what about Alexandra Eala? She walked off the court the same way she had walked on, humble, composed, and focused on the next challenge. When reporters crowded around her in the mixed zone, asking her to explain the viral moment, she simply smiled and said, "Some things are just for the heart." She refused to turn it into a spectacle, choosing instead to let the gesture speak for itself. She didn't preview the gesture on Instagram. She didn't ask her management team to draft a statement. Alexandra Eala simply acted on instinct, guided by values shaped long before she ever competed on the professional stage. That authenticity is precisely why the moment resonated so deeply, and the days since the incident, her social media following has surged by more than 2 million across platforms. Messages of admiration have poured in from countries without even a professional tennis circuit, proving that her impact transcended the sport itself. Major global brands are reportedly lining up for partnerships not because she lifted a trophy, but because she demonstrated something rarer than a championship title: character. In modern sports marketing, authenticity is the ultimate currency, and Eala just showed she has it in abundance. The tennis world has responded with overwhelming support. Fellow players from rising prospects to Grand Slam champions have publicly praised her decision. Former world number ones have called her an inspiration, and even legends who typically avoid social media have spoken out in admiration. The Women's Tennis Association, WTA, released a statement commending Eala for embodying the values of sportsmanship and compassion the tour strives to represent. There is growing talk that Alexandra Eala could receive a special humanitarian recognition at season's end, a rare honor in a sport that typically measures success in titles and ranking points. The tournament where it all happened has become one of the most discussed events of the year, not because of the rallies, impressive as they were, but because of what unfolded after match point. Organizers are reportedly considering ways to commemorate the moment, including installing a plaque on the very spot where Eala handed the racket to Aisha. Some have even floated the idea of renaming part of the stadium in tribute to the gesture, while local artists have proposed a statue capturing the embrace Eala and Aisha frozen in time, the racket between them symbolizing the bridge between athlete and admirer. Among fellow competitors, the reaction has been largely admiring. Several players have publicly praised her compassion, while a few have privately admitted they aren't sure they would have made the same decision. That honesty only adds depth to the story. Not everyone is wired the same way, and that's precisely why her choice stands out. It serves as a reminder that even in high-stakes moments, when life-changing sums of money are involved, there is always a choice. The manufacturer of the racket model Eala used has also found itself unexpectedly in the spotlight. The company released a carefully worded statement expressing pride that its equipment was part of such a meaningful occasion, while deliberately avoiding any overt commercial exploitation. Instead of launching a flashy campaign, They announced a limited donation of rackets to youth tennis programs in the Philippines, a move aligned with the spirit of generosity rather than profit. There's even a psychological layer to the story that has drawn interest from behavioral experts. In those 5 seconds of silence, what guided Eala's decision? Was it pure instinct, shaped by years of values and sacrifice? Or was it a rapid calculation rooted in something deeper than money, identity, purpose, legacy? Whatever passed through her mind in that brief pause, the outcome has become a case study in character under pressure. Most people, when confronted with life-changing sums of money, experience what psychologists call cognitive override, a tug-of-war between rational calculation and emotional impulse. But Alexandra Eala moved beyond both. She didn't agonize, she didn't deliberate. In that brief pause, she acted with a moral clarity that comes from deeply internalized values, a clarity so instinctive that reasoning isn't necessary. She just knew what was right. The moment also underscores the complex relationship between wealth and happiness. Sheikh Khalid al-Rashid possesses almost everything money can buy, yet the one thing his daughter desired most couldn't be purchased. It took a simple act from someone with comparatively little wealth to give her what she truly needed. The irony is profound, and the lesson universal. The things we cherish most, love, recognition, connection, belonging, exist outside economic systems. They cannot be bought, sold, or traded. They can only be given freely, and that is what makes them invaluable. As for the future of Eala, the signs are bright. Her ranking will continue to rise, wins will accumulate, and sponsorships will flock to a player whose integrity now speaks louder than any trophy. But beyond accolades and endorsements, she has secured something far more lasting, a legacy. Long after her matches are over, long after the wins and losses fade, this story will endure. It will be recounted in tennis clubs, written about in sports histories, and used to inspire generations of athletes to recognize that their influence extends far beyond the court. And for Aisha Al-Rashid, the experience may ignite a lifelong spark. Perhaps she will pick up a racket and find her own passion in tennis, or pursue other dreams, carrying with her the lesson that true value is not measured by possessions, but by the depth of the connections we forge with others. Years from now, when she faces her own challenges, she may recall this moment and understand that some of life's most precious gifts come not from wealth, but from the heart. Years from now, Aisha Al-Rashid will recall a choice between personal gain and human compassion, the day Alexandra Eala knelt before her and chose kindness over cash. This is why we watch sports. Yes, for the forehands and backhands, for the athletic brilliance, but we stay for the humanity. We stay for the moments when the line between superstar and fan dissolves, when athletes remind us that they are human beings first and entertainers second. Every once in a while, something transcends the game, something that stirs our better angels and restores our faith in goodness. Sheikh Khalid al-Rashid may have tried to buy a moment, but Eala gave him a memory, and in doing so, she taught all of us a lesson that will linger for years. She showed that some things cannot and should not be commodified, that inspiration is meant to be shared, not sold. She taught that the heart knows things the wallet never will, and that being rich and being truly wealthy are entirely different. What would you do? If a billionaire offered $10 million for something meaningful but ultimately replaceable, would you take the cash, or would you do what Eala did? Be honest, there's no wrong answer. Most of us would probably say yes to the money, it's human nature. Bills, family obligations, dreams that require funding. But watching Aisha's pure joy, witnessing a moment of real human connection, perhaps Eala understood something many of us are still learning. The richest life isn't measured in bank statements, but in moments of meaning, in connections that matter, and in knowing you've made someone's world a little brighter. Let me know in the comments how you would have responded. And if this story of heart over money moved you, smash that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss the drama, the passion, and the glory here on Court Eva Tennis. Share this story with someone who needs to be reminded that goodness still exists in the world. Until next time, keep your head in the game and your heart on your sleeve. We'll see you on the court.